Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about this feeling of overwhelm, being stressed, feeling like life might be a little chaotic. This is something that many of us have experienced. I've experienced this many times. You might be going through a season of your life that feels a little bit like this. And I think it's an important topic because it definitely impacts our ability to show up with good energy and have the influence that we want to have. One thing that I am aware of and can acknowledge is that there are just some really tough seasons that people go through in their lives. And that's just a real thing. That's part of life. We can acknowledge that. We can honor that. The other distinction is there are a lot of people who are in the habit of complaining or lamenting about their life. And that's kind of the distinction that I want to make today is understanding the difference between a season that is just very circumstantially challenging versus being in a pattern of complaining or criticizing or lamenting the circumstances of your life. As I was thinking about this topic, I was reflecting on a season in my life where I was feeling a lot of pressure. It was like a 2-year stint, 2016, 2017-ish. And when I was thinking back on it, I was like, oh yeah, no kidding. You had a lot of stuff going on. So during that time, I had, the year before, I had left a relationship that was serious and then met the love of my life, who is now my wife, Leanne. And that was a big deal. She was going through a really rough divorce, and she then had to come out to her parents, essentially tell them, like, I'm in love with a woman, which is no small feat when you had previously been married to a man for however many years. She had 2 daughters. And so at that time, I kind of became a step parent. They were pretty young at the time, so it was a big adjustment. We had moved in together, and she had actually bought a house that needed a total gut, like remodel. And she was all in to do it, but she hadn't told me she bought the house. This is a big joke for us, but she hadn't told me she bought the house until I'd seen it. And I was like, whoa, this thing needs a lot of work. It was basically covered in vines and overgrown with every type of vegetation you can imagine. And so we started doing this house remodel. We got engaged and we were planning a wedding, which if you guys have ever planned a wedding, I don't know how people do it. I had at this time started a company with my business partner, Sarah. We started Optimize You in 2016. And so we were launching that and creating courses for that. At the time, I was teaching spin like 6 to 8 classes a week, which was so fun, but just physically depleting. And then I was also working full time as an acupuncturist. So there was a lot going on at the time. And frankly, I was feeling the pressure. Was having some pretty down moments. I was very stressed. I was pretty high strung and I was holding it together, but I knew that I wasn't showing up in the way that I wanted to. I wasn't feeling the joy. I felt like time was moving too quickly and I wasn't present for it. And I just, I had this moment like, I got to figure this out. I need to change something about the way that I'm perceiving all of this stuff because my life is passing me by and I'm not here. I'm not present for it. I'm not enjoying it. And there was a moment where I realized that I had asked for every single one of these things that I was managing. I had asked for every single one of those things. I had asked to find the love of my life. I had asked for a family. I had asked to start a business. I loved teaching and I asked for that. Absolutely loved it. I wanted to move in together. I wanted to do the remodel. I had asked for a full practice. I had asked for all of these things. I wanted a big life and a big love, and it was showing up for me. And I had this insight. If I wasn't careful, I could miss the forest for the trees because I had asked for every single one of these things. And that phrase, that insight changed my life. And I realized that the things that are showing up in our world, in our experience, are the result of all the yeses that we have given in the past. The circumstances that we're in right now, they are the result of all the things that we have said yes to in the past for the most part. These were yeses that I had given a month prior, a week prior, 5 years prior, 10 years prior. And a lot of this stuff was showing up because I had asked for it. And that was really powerful for me because this goes back to this idea of ownership and taking ownership of your circumstances, past, present, and future. Taking ownership of your feelings and your thoughts and your actions. How am I going to show up today? What do I need to bring today? What feelings do I need to take ownership of today? Because I said yes to so many things that have led to this current reality that I'm in. And I can choose to love it and enjoy it and find the beauty in it, even amongst the chaos, or I can lament it and I can complain about it. To me, it just didn't really make a lot of sense to be complaining about something that I had asked for in so many different ways all those years. And so this was a major lesson for me and a tool that I still use all the time. I use it every day so that I can be really sure that I'm having powerful impact. If there's something that's feeling hard or challenging or something that I'm complaining about in my mind, I check in with myself and say, wait, did I ask for this? And most times the answer is yes. Most times the answer is I gave a yes sometime in the past that allowed for this to show up in my life. And that is ownership. And it's not always easy, but man, it's freeing and it is so powerful. And, look, let's operate under the assumption that we all recognize that some things are out of our control and there will be circumstances that come into our life that are really hard that we didn't ask for. I get that. We can understand that. But for the most part, a lot of this stuff is coming in because you requested it. And so my challenge to you, my call to action to you is to look at your stressors, look at the things that you're lamenting or complaining about, and check in with yourself and ask yourself, did I ask for this? It gives you a lot of insight as to what you truly want and what you can really find appreciation for. Has everything to do with taking radical ownership of your life. So I hope this felt helpful. I hope that you can take your own insights from this. And I just thank you for being here and being ready to impact. Thanks for listening to Impact Ready. I hope today's episode inspired you to own your impact and recognize that you are powerful. By elevating our energy and awareness, we can create exponential change in this life. If you enjoyed today's insights, share them with a friend and subscribe to the show for more. I truly appreciate you. Thanks again for being here.